Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! Maximus stared at the stack of bills on his cluttered dorm room desk, the numbers blurring under the dim lamplight. At 21 years old, he was drowning in student loans and credit card debt from trying to keep up with tuition and living expenses. His part-time job at the campus bookstore barely covered rent, and with finals looming, the pressure felt unbearable. Everyone around him, all adults navigating their early 20s, seemed to have it together, but he was falling behind. Desperation led him to a peculiar ad in the local paper. Mysterious benefactor seeks dedicated servant. Debts paid in full. Inquire at the old manor on Elm Street. The manor loomed like a forgotten relic at the edge of town, its ivy-covered walls and towering turrets casting long shadows in the evening sun. Maximus, with his tousled blonde hair falling into his eyes, knocked on the heavy oak door, his heart pounding. It creaked open to reveal a woman in her 30s, elegant and poised, with sharp green eyes and a flowing black dress that seemed to shimmer unnaturally. She introduced herself as Ilara, the witch who owned the place. Over tea in a lavish parlor filled with antique furniture and flickering candlelight, she listened to his woes and offered a deal. Serve her for a year, and all his debts would vanish. No fine print mentioned, just a simple contract signed in shimmering ink. He agreed without hesitation, eager to escape his financial nightmare. The next morning, Ilara summoned him to her chambers. "Your uniform awaits," she said, with a sly smile, handing him a neatly folded outfit. It was a French-made ensemble, a short black skirt that barely reached mid-thigh, a crisp white apron tied with a bow, and a red ribbon choker that felt oddly constricting around his neck. Maximus protested, his cheeks flushing, but Ilara's gaze hardened. "The contract is binding. Wear it or the deal is off." Reluctantly, he changed in the adjoining bathroom, the fabric feeling foreign against his skin. Emerging, he caught his reflection in a full-length mirror, his blonde hair messy, his frame awkward in the feminine attire. But as he adjusted the choker, a strange warmth spread through him, subtle at first, like a gentle hum in his veins. Ilara assigned him his first task, dusting the grand library, a room lined with towering bookshelves and ancient tomes that whispered secrets when the wind blew through the cracks. As he worked, feather duster in hand, he noticed his movements becoming smoother, almost graceful. By midday, his voice had softened slightly when he asked Ilara for lunch instructions, the usual baritone edging toward a lighter tone. She nodded approvingly, her eyes gleaming. "You're adapting well, my dear. Keep wearing the outfit, and you'll find the service transformative." That evening, as he prepared dinner in the spacious kitchen with its copper pots and herb-scented air, Maximus felt his features subtly shift. His jawline softened, his cheekbones gaining a delicate curve. He touched his face in surprise, but the contract's magic held firm. Ilara dined alone, watching him serve with a knowing smile. "From now on, you'll answer to Giselle," she declared. "It suits you better." He, now she, nodded, the name feeling strangely right as the choker seemed to pulse with energy. On the second day, Giselle woke to find her blonde hair had grown longer overnight, cascading in soft waves past her shoulders. The maid outfit felt less like a costume and more like an extension of herself. Ilara introduced a new element, a pair of black heels that clicked against the manor's stone floors as Giselle polished the silverware in the dining hall. With each step, her posture straightened, her hips swaying naturally. Cat-like traits began to emerge, a faint itch behind her ears, which sprouted soft, furry tips by afternoon. She scratched at them curiously while sweeping the foyer, the broom's bristles collecting dust bunnies that danced in the sunlight streaming through stained glass windows. Alara hosted her first guest that evening, a fellow mystic named Thorn, a tall man in his 40s with a beard streaked in silver. "Meet Giselle, my new servant," Alara announced as Giselle curtsied, her softened voice greeting him politely. Thorn raised an eyebrow, but said nothing, sipping wine while discussing arcane spells. Giselle served appetizers, cheese platters and fresh bread, feeling a tail beginning to form, a fluffy appendage that swished under her skirt, adding to the feline grace in her steps. The transformation deepened her commitment. There was no turning back, the outfit a permanent part of her now. By the third day, Giselle's legs had slimmed, becoming more feminine and toned. Alara expanded her wardrobe, presenting a pastel blue dress with intricate lace details along the hem and sleeves. It hugged her changing figure comfortably, paired with striped thigh-high stockings that accentuated her newly shaped calves. She wore it while tending the garden outside, the manor's grounds blooming with enchanted flowers that glowed faintly. Kneeling to prune roses, she felt whiskers sprouting on her cheeks, twitching at the scent of blooming petals. Her blonde hair caught the breeze, shining like gold threads. Inside, she prepared afternoon tea for Alara, who lounged in the sunroom overlooking the misty hills. "You're progressing beautifully, Giselle," the witch murmured, stirring her cup. Giselle's ears, now fully feline and perked atop her head, flicked at the compliment. Serving became second nature, her tail curling contentedly as she poured the steaming liquid. That night, alone in her quarters, a cozy room with a 4-poster bed and velvet curtains, she examined her reflection, the Catgirl staring back with wide, curious eyes. The changes felt empowering, a far cry from the struggling student she once was. The fourth day brought more guests, a trio of Alara's associates, all adults in their 30s and 40s, gathered for a discussion on potion brewing. Giselle, in her blue dress and stockings, moved among them like a shadow, refilling glasses and offering pastries. Her voice, now fully melodic and soft, introduced herself without hesitation. One guest, a woman named Lyra, with curly red hair, complimented her outfit. "It suits you perfectly." Giselle blushed, her tail swishing as she cleared plates. Internally, the remnants of Maximus faded, replaced by a growing sense of belonging. Alara assigned her to organize the attic, a dusty space filled with trunks of forgotten artifacts. Climbing the creaky stairs, Giselle's enhanced senses picked up scents of old leather and magic residue. She sorted through crystal orbs and spellbooks, her claws, now emerging from her fingertips, carefully handling delicate items. By evening, her eyes had taken on a slit-pupilled glow, improving her night vision as she lit candles for dinner service. On the fifth day, rain pattered against the manor's windows, creating a rhythmic backdrop. Giselle donned the maid outfit again for variety, the black skirt flaring as she mopped the hallways. Her feminine curves had developed further, filling out the fabric in ways that felt natural. Cat traits intensified. Her balance improved, allowing her to leap effortlessly onto high shelves to dust forgotten corners. Alara watched from her study, a room lined with maps of mystical realms, nodding in approval. A delivery arrived, crates of rare ingredients for Alara's spells. Giselle unpacked them in the pantry, her whiskers quivering at the exotic smells of herbs and spices. She prepared a stew for lunch, chopping vegetables with precise claw swipes. As she served Alara, their conversation turned light, the witch sharing tales of her travels. Giselle listened, her ears perked, feeling a bond forming beyond servitude. The 6th day saw Giselle in the pastel blue dress, exploring the manor's hidden passages at Alara's request. These narrow corridors, lit by glowing fungi, led to secret rooms with alchemical labs. She cleaned beakers and vials, her tail helping maintain balance on uneven floors. Feminine grace defined her every move, from the sway of her hips to the softness of her gestures. Guests arrived unannounced, a scholarly couple in their 50s, experts in enchantments. Giselle greeted them at the door, her choker a striking contrast to her blonde hair. She escorted them to the parlor, serving tea and engaging in polite small talk. Her voice carried a purring undertone now, adding charm to her introductions. The couple marveled at her poise, unaware of the magic at work. 7th day brought a focus on personal grooming. Alara provided brushes and combs for Giselle's fur-tipped ears and tail, teaching her to maintain them. In the opulent bathroom with its marble tub, Giselle groomed herself, the routine solidifying her new identity. She wore the striped stockings while laundering linens in the basement, the humid air filled with the scent of soap. Alara hosted a small gathering that night, 5 friends all over 30, discussing lunar rituals. Giselle circulated with trays of finger foods, her cat-like agility allowing her to weave through the crowd effortlessly. Compliments flowed, and she responded with curtsies, her blonde hair bouncing. As weeks turned into months, the transformations layered gradually. On day 30, Giselle's skin softened to a silky texture, her blonde hair reaching her waist in lustrous waves. She alternated outfits, the French maid for formal duties, the blue dress for casual ones. Cleaning the conservatory, a glass-domed room bursting with tropical plants, she felt her senses sharpen. Scents more vivid, sounds crisper. Alara began teaching her basic spells, simple charms to enhance household tasks. In the library, under chandelier light, Giselle practiced levitating dusters, her claws glowing faintly. Guests became regulars, always introduced to Giselle, who handled their needs with increasing confidence. By day 60, her figure was fully feminine, curves accentuated by the lace details of her dresses. Tail and ears were prominent, twitching at every new stimulus. She tended the witch's familiar, a raven named Onyx, feeding it seeds in the aviary. The bird perched on her shoulder, cawing softly. A grand event marked day 90, a ball for Alara's coven, dozens of adults in elaborate attire. Giselle, in an enhanced maid outfit with added lace, managed the preparations, arranging flowers, setting tables in the ballroom with its crystal chandeliers and polished floors. She greeted arrivals, her purring voice welcoming them. Dancing servants weren't required, but she moved with rhythmic grace while serving. Months blurred, each day deepening the changes. On day 120, Giselle's agility allowed her to scale the manor's towers for window cleaning, her stockings gripping as she balanced. Alara shared more lore, bonding over late-night teas in the kitchen. By day 180, halfway through the year, Giselle felt complete in her role. Her blonde hair was a signature feature, often braided with ribbons matching her choker. She organized Alara's wardrobe, ironing gowns in the sewing room scented with lavender. Guests now treated her as a fixture, some confiding in her during quiet moments. One, a potion master named Victor in his 40s, shared recipes while she served him in the study, Her cat traits aided in subtle ways, sensing moods, anticipating needs. As day 200 approached, Giselle reflected in her quarters, the permanence looming. She wore the blue dress while baking in the kitchen, the oven's warmth mirroring the magic within her. Alara praised her loyalty, hinting at freedoms beyond the contract. Day 250 brought challenges. A storm damaged the roof, and Giselle assisted repairs, her claws useful for holding tiles. In the aftermath, she cleaned debris, her tail lashing with determination. By day 300, her voice had a melodic lilt, perfect for singing lullabies to calm Alara's restless nights. In the master bedroom with its canopy bed, she hummed while fluffing pillows. The final months intensified bonds. On day 330, a rival witch visited, testing Alara's defenses. Giselle, alert with feline instincts, warned of subtle intrusions, her ears detecting whispers. As the year neared its end, day 360, Giselle prepared a feast, her wardrobe now a collection of feminine attire, always dressed as such. The transformation felt innate, her blonde hair a constant in the mirror. On the last day, the magic sealed permanently. Giselle stood before Alara in the parlor, the contract glowing before dissolving. "You're mine forever, my loyal Catgirl companion," Alara said. Giselle smiled, happiness blooming, her tail curling affectionately. But as they celebrated with a quiet dinner, a distant rumble echoed. Another storm? Or something more? Shadows stirred in the corners, hinting at unseen threats lurking beyond the manor's walls, waiting to test their newfound bond. Hope you enjoyed the story so far. The rest will be available on Patreon.